Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining what we hope is a very exciting event today. 3,000 memberships in 3 months, how fast-growing car washes scale with new technology. Um, Couple housekeeping items before we jump on in, introduce the speakers, and talk about this interesting topic. So throughout the webinar, feel free to drop questions in the chat or in the questions tab. It'll be on your bottom right of your screen. We'll have team members who can answer during the webinar, and we'll have plenty of time set aside at the end to answer all your questions with Austin and Sud as well. So drop those in there. We will go through them. Second, thanks to Austin and Sud for being here and getting the time together, figuring out an interesting topic to talk to you about the car wash industry. It's really great to see so many new faces, so many old faces, and people who are interested in pushing the industry forward as well. So the agenda today is we'll meet the speakers in a second. We're going to give a very brief overview of what Spot AI and Rinse do in the car wash industry and for the car wash industry. And then we're going to dive into why you all are here. We're going to talk about strategies for 3,000 memberships in 3 months and how you leverage new technology to hit those goals. And then as promised, we'll have plenty of time set aside for Q&A at the end. So today we have Austin Essexkin, the CEO and co-founder of Rinsed, and Sud Patija, the COO and co-founder of Spot AI. Austin, why don't you tell everyone a little about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Great to meet everybody. I think we have some existing customers here as well. Good to connect with all of you. So I'm Austin, the CEO and co-founder here at Rinsed. We're based in New York City and in Lehi, Utah. And Rinsed is a CRM or customer relationship management software built exclusively for the car wash industry.
Great. And Sud, how about you tell everyone about Spot AI?
Sure. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Good to see a lot of our customers here. It's good to meet you all. So I'm Sud. I'm one of the co-founders of the company. I'm the CEO, and I lead our revenue organization. Quick introductions are Spot AI is a video intelligence platform. It helps you use your camera systems to make more money.
Great. So why don't we dive a little bit deeper? We'll talk a little about Spot AI and what we do, and then we'll also talk about what Rinse does a little bit.
That sounds great. So some of you are familiar with Spot AI. And for those of you who are not, Spot AI is an AI camera system that helps car washes processes like more cars every day, and give your customers the best experience possible. We work with several leading car washes in the industry, and we've become the gold standard system for car washes who want to scale as fast as possible. The product is centered around giving you real-time insights on how your operations are performing, and give you the tools you need to make better decisions and serve your customers better.
Great. And what's so different about Spot, Sud?
The reason we started the company, and this was a few years ago when we were grad students at Stanford, was we were seeing this transition between video security, and camera systems that were built primarily for security use cases. They were built for to be reviewed once every few months when you had a problem, and they but were not fundamentally built for how people were using video today. What we saw happening over the last few years was a significant increase in the number of cameras, and every business has cameras that they kind of use not just for security, but for improving customer experience, for improving the efficiency of their operations. But what we found was video security wasn't built for that. And that's where we saw an opportunity to build a new kind of product that allowed you as an owner, as a head of operations, as any persona in the company, to use the data from your camera systems to better manage how you operate. And what the product does is takes care of some of the more challenges that customers that you typically have with camera systems, and aligns the value and make sure that what you're paying for is what you actually get.
Great. Yeah, great insights and benefits for the car wash industry. And Austin, why don't you give everyone a little overview about what Rinse does for the car wash industry?
Yeah, sure. Keep it brief so we can get to the topic of how you all get to 3,000 members, which I know is why everybody's here. But yeah, Rinsed is a CRM built exclusively for car washes. So that's customer relationship management software. So we plug into your existing point of sale hardware. We integrate with the top 5 car wash point of sales, DRB, ICS, MicroLogic, Sonny's, and Washify, and really allow you to take out that membership and transaction data and now make that useful in sort of tailoring the customer journey. So that could be increasing the retention of your existing members, signing up new members online, making it easy for people to manage their membership, but ultimately with the goal of helping you grow a successful membership business. The company is about 4 years old, and we're building only for the car wash industry. Today, we're in about 1,300 car washes and help manage over 4 million memberships for our customers.
And Austin, just real quick, like what the problem you solve is so unique, right? So what was it like for car washes before Rinse was in the market?
Yeah, so I think that the point of sales tend to be highly focused on sort of what's going on in the driveway, and that whole experience is very much optimized. It's excellent for throughput, but once the customer leaves your premises, there weren't a lot of tools that could actually leverage that data to continue that one-on-one conversation with the customer. So that's really where we plug in to give you the ability to email and text your customers and give them the ability to manage their plan in a personalized way, but do that at scale. So that's really our focus.
Great. That's awesome. So the question we're here to answer today is a pretty simple question, I would say, right, guys? So how can fast-growing car washes scale to 3,000 memberships in 3 months in any economic conditions? So we're going to talk about a framework and strategies for this, but before we dive into that strategy, why is this number and why is this so important for the car wash industry? Austin, I'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that one of the things we think about a lot when we're helping customers with new store launches is just that nothing engenders more activity than a busy wash. And so how do you go from 0 to 60 as fast as possible so that people see that, one, this is a busy wash that is still moving through the line. People know they're going to be able to get their car washed quickly there. And that's going to really help you convert members. So all the tools that start, even before the wash is open, around like how do you just start from the ground running, because that's the way to get to and maintain those high membership numbers.
Great. And Sud, why do you think this is so important?
I think there are 2 things that are happening, in the market, and we see this with a lot of our customers. The industry has grown very significantly over the last few years. And what we're hearing our customers talk about is the focus now is how do you make those car washes that you already have out there help you make the most money as possible. And in a world where there's increased competition, getting to that 3,000 membership point in a few months sort of creates a strong foundation for the car wash's continued success. And everybody in the industry knows that if you have a customer on a membership, they're just much likely to be a much higher value customer for you. And then everybody's goal is how do we get as many memberships as possible, as soon as possible.
Exactly. Great. So we're going to dive into the strategy of how to get 3,000 memberships. And there's three pillars here, really. So grow memberships. So how do you ensure your car wash is set up for speed to scale membership? Something Austin will talk about is that speed aspect. How do you retain your members and provide the training and systems needed to keep your members happy? And to do those, you really have to analyze, right? You have to understand the robust insights that come from technology partners, that come from on-site, to understand memberships, understand your operations at scale. So what we're going to do is to set the groundwork for everyone. We're going to have a panel discussion to talk through these ideas, essentially. So when should car washes think about their membership program, Austin?
Yes, I mean, I think if your goal is to get to 3,000 members in that first 90 days, I think you want to be thinking about this at least 90 days before opening. And I think one of the ways that we see folks really do that is really an emphasis on pre-sales. How many members can you get with some sort of founder special that are going to sign up before your wash is even open. And I think this has been fairly underutilized historically in the industry, and some of that's because limitations with the point of sale or with the ability to wait until you're actually charging the customer. But we've helped customers that have sold over 2,000 memberships for a new site before it's even launched. And you can just imagine how impactful that is in terms of all these new members who are coming to the wash from day one, who are on some like highly promotional rate and are excited to get there and finally experience the wash because they've seen it under construction. They've purchased this heavily discounted membership online, and they're going to get to enjoy this like promotional rate for the first couple months.
Yeah, and then Sud, how do you see Spot's customers and thinking about memberships and when they start thinking about the membership program?
I think, as Austin said, they think about memberships relatively early, but beyond just setting up the program before the car wash starts, they're thinking about it from day one and on an ongoing basis, and they're constantly trying to use data, especially in the early stages, to make sure that they're targeting the customers in the right way. That they know who are the customers who are coming back repeatedly, and that they're trying to figure out who they are, and then design programs around trying to convert them into memberships as fast as possible. Most of our customers, are think through metrics for how many of what fraction of their customers they want to be members within the first 30, 60, 90 days, and try to work towards that with their marketing teams.
Great. And then, so kind of picking on that a little bit. What's the most important things? What are the most important things that really impact the speed of membership growth?
I can speak to one of them, and then Austin should definitely chime in. One of the things that we see for our customers is just speed of service. At the end of the day, nobody wants to wait for service, and leading customers in the car wash industry for us are focusing on being fast so that they can give the customers the best experience as possible. Now, what we found more recently is that a lot of our car wash customers are focused on actually measuring what that means to be fast, right? And the industry that folks are looking at, for an example, is actually the fast food industry and the quick service industry. And thinking about how to leverage technologies that those folks use to measure what's the wait time for somebody in a drive-through lane, how long do they take to get serviced, and bringing those technologies and those approaches to the car wash business, and trying to make sure that they have a very clear perspective on how long it takes any customer to get into the car wash, where they get stuck and get out of it.
Yeah. And Austin, what's your point of view on that? What's the most important thing to look for?
Yeah, I think speed of service is definitely essential. The other thing I would point to is we have a lot of focus on how do you measure conversion in the driveway, and then reporting that in as real time as possible back to your employees so that they can make adjustments. You don't want to be waiting a week to give feedback to your manager about this site launch. Like the more real time you can iterate on that and realize if you're not converting at the rate that you think you should be. I mean, we think that for a new site launch, there's no reason conversion shouldn't consistently be above 10%. And when I say conversion, I mean of all of the cars that drive in who aren't members yet, how many of those do you actually sign up that day?
So when thinking about speed of service and that on-site experience, so how can on-ground teams be best organized to maximize memberships then, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is what do you have your on-ground customer service team focused on? If they're dealing with members who want to change their plan or update their credit card, and the only way they can do that is by clogging up your line and doing it at the store, like that's probably not a great use of your salespeople's valuable time. Whereas you really want them focused on that customer experience and giving those new folks the greatest experience and hopefully converting them to members. So I think giving people a online, easy to use way to manage their membership is a great way to free up your associates' time so they can focus on high value things in the driveway.
And student, how can car washes really think about that? Like making sure their teams are maximizing their time at pay stations, at the driveway?
Yeah, that's a really important point, because what we hear from our customers is that um, your teams are very often not adhering to procedures in the way that they were supposed to. And a lot of leading customers look at that team engagement as very critical to actually maximize membership. So a couple of examples are some folks use uh, 30 seconds as their KPI for customer efficiency. And what they want to make sure is that within that time period, they have somebody on staff talking to the customer, at the pay station. Customers of ours also use the data from the system to actually design incentive plans and bonus plans for their employees to make sure that they're actually actively interacting with more customers as fast as possible. What they also do is use technologies like heat mapping to figure out where people are needed, where they aren't needed, so that they can staff their locations efficiently. All this with the goal that the more effective on-ground members are at engaging customers, the more likely you are to get higher memberships.
Yeah. So Austin, yeah.
Yeah, one thing I would add is I think as important as speed is, I think there are like some legitimate reasons to slow down the line. Like, for example, one thing that we see, I think is like a classic mistake for some of these launches is, I think free wash is a fantastic way to, drive traffic, particularly to get that wash busy in the early period, but to not take that opportunity to then gather some contact information from the customer so that you can, retarget them after they've experienced your wash, I think is, slowing down the line just enough to get either that email or phone is a huge advantage, because now you can follow up with that person after they've experienced your wash and hopefully get them back and get them to be a membership. So I think it's a balancing act. You definitely want to continue to process cars, but there are things for which I would encourage people to slow down the line a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. So speed is key, right? On-ground experience is key when you're opening new washes. Promotions like free memberships are great ways and great excuses almost to slow down a bit, right? To build more momentum for future memberships. So as you grow and scale your memberships, once you have them, you have to retain them, right? So Austin, like, what is one important way for car washes to use data they have now to retain members?
Yeah, so on retention specifically, I think you want to be very thoughtful about, well, what is this like initial founding member offer look like, and then if it's going to be a promotional period for say the first 90 days and then step up significantly, is there some kind of other plans I can offer people to try to keep them so we don't just churn off a bunch of customers after that promotional period? And I think the more targeted you can be there, it might be that it's a very different offer to that person who's going one time a month and just isn't seeing the value in a $30 plan, but might be very happy paying $20 for that flexibility. And can you make it very segmented so that when that person goes to quit, you can see their usage and offer them that lower price to stay in?
That's great. And then Sid, like from an operational side, how can car washes use data to retain members?
I think that there are a couple of things. One is using data and technology to provide them the right experience, because customer experience is key to retention. And the second is using data to figure out like where they might be losing customers. On the first part, we see a lot of our customers focusing heavily on incident resolution and the speed of incident resolution. Very often you have customers leaving the car wash and making a complaint saying that the car wash dinged their vehicle. But making sure that those incidents are resolved really, really quickly and diagnosed really, really quickly is something that we've seen some of our successful customers do. And at the end of the day, all customers want to do is feel heard, even if it's the resolution is not necessarily in their favor. So we find that instant communication, giving them proof of what actually happened and putting them at ease, saying, look, it wasn't really the car wash. The car already had a ding, is something that has led to positive customer experiences. And what some of them do in that context is then couple that with giving customers like some kinds of gift cards or to actually show back up again, to make sure that that incident didn't prevent them from wanting to come back.
Yeah, and it all comes back to experience. Something Austin you're talking through and Sud you're talking through, whether it's from the first wash and promotional materials, or God forbid, car gets damaged or through damage claims. So, how important is customer experience to membership retention, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of everything. They're choosing to enter into this ongoing relationship with your business by being a member, and the way that they're treated, not just at the wash, but in every interaction with the car wash, whether that's what it looks like to when they want to update a credit card, if they want to change their plan. If you make that painful for them, people are going to churn more frequently. So I think being thoughtful about every interaction from the very first time that they get their free wash code to how does that follow-up look like, that should all resonate with your brand and how you want the customer to feel interacting with your wash, and how they should feel about being a member ultimately.
Yeah. And Sud, what about from your point of view?
I think what we see with some of our customers is a constant focus on improving that customer experience. So when you set up the car wash for the first time, the setup was based on some assumptions of what the market was looking for in that location. You figure out how many vacuums you needed, etc. What we see customers doing is using data and analytics to figure out, okay, are those assumptions actually holding true over time? And figuring out if there need to be any modifications that are made over the life of the wash, so that they can continuously provide their customers like a better experience. Customers are using video technology to get that perspective and that information, and then making modifications so that they can constantly be at the cutting edge of that customer service experience.
Yeah, and I think something we've all talked a lot about is communication with customers, right? So whether it's on site, whether it's through digital channels, whether it's print ads, whatever it is. So how can car washes really best communicate with customers on an ongoing basis when it comes to their memberships? Austin, if you want to take a stab first.
Yeah, I mean, I think increasingly consumers expect you to meet them on the mediums that they want to use, whether that's email or text message. So I think like the most common new wash launch campaign we see is people giving out free washes, and they give customers the option to receive those via email or text. And then it's really important for the car wash to actually have a plan for how they're going to follow up with that customer and what's that going to look like, whether or not they redeem that free wash. So I think just getting the information, just getting them to the wash is the first step. But then, what does that journey look like after that? Because now you have someone who's experienced the product, and they're basically your hottest prospect at that time, and it's going to cool significantly if you wait a month to message them again. So I think it's really about trying to meet the customer where they are, and make the content really relevant to them as soon as they've experienced your product.
Yeah, and Sud, how can we best communicate with customers on an ongoing basis?
I think the subscription model aligns incentives between the vendor and the customer, and we've seen this with other technologies as well. So I think one part of it is constantly staying in touch, but the other is constantly receiving feedback. At the end of the day, all customers want to be heard. So what we've seen some of our customers do is actually running surveys, constantly keeping that pulse on their customers so that they can again make improvements. So it's you're maintaining a relationship, but it's also a two-way relationship where you're providing value to the customer, and then they're telling you how that landed.
Yeah. So we have a lot of great questions coming in. So I want to wrap on one question, and then we'll go into the Q&A. I think something we're getting at here, we're really touching on is, a lot of things have to happen at the car wash. The teams have to be trained. The experience has to be phenomenal. Customers have to be excited through the marketing and experience, but also comes down to the technology. So what are some of the most important things to think through for a car wash when they're choosing technology and technology partners to work with? Stu, do you want to start?
Yeah, I think the thing that we see the most, particularly in an industry that's as fast growing as the car wash industry, is the need to work with technology partners who can support scale and who can be responsive to feedback and hear what their customers need and keep evolving their offering. At the end of the day, your businesses and the technology businesses are not static. So there needs to be that constant improvement. Somebody who can work, with you through scaling, and also be responsive as you scale. I think are two very crucial things in a technology.
Austin?
Yeah, I think I would say that just there's a lot of nuance to the car wash market specifically, and a lot of the hardware and point of sale hardware. So I think having partners that are like really living and breathing that. I mean, this is all Rinse does. I know this is a huge focus of the Spot team, as evidenced by this webinar. And I think having partners who really have a lot of experience with the particulars of the car wash industry and some of the like nuances of integrating with this hardware are really important, so that the delivered value actually lives up to the promise, because they're seeing it every day.
Great. So we have a lot of questions coming in. We're on limited time, so guys, good to jump into some Q&A.
Let's do it.
Yeah, great.
So for the first one is, in terms of retention, how can car washes increase their customers' top of mind awareness to combat minor economic impacts? So what can car washes do to kind of stem the tide right now?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that keeping your members, the benefits of the membership front of mind for them. So that often looks like, a drip campaign for your early members. Maybe you're also providing them with some kind of like rewards at, month 6 and month 12 of membership. If they're in a medium package, throw them a free upgrade to your top wash. Just little things that make it obvious that you're caring about their experience, and making it personalized, I think can go a long way. And having those communications not just be a generic blast, where both members and non-members are getting the same information. It's not relevant to the customer. Really, the more targeted it can be, I think the more effective.
Yeah, consumers are smart, right? We're all consumers ourselves. We have a million options, and you want to have something targeted towards you, right? Which makes sense. And then, Sud, Austin, kind of a follow up to that question is, it seems like a car wash subscription might be one of the first expenses to go if there's tough economic times. So, what other kind of extra things can a car wash do to ensure that's not the case? Sud, if you want to take that first.
I think to me, what we hear from our customers is that it comes down to getting people into the habit of doing that. At the end of the day, when you start washing your cars regularly, and as I can speak to that as a consumer, is you then get into the habit of making sure your car is clean, and that becomes part of your identity. And then there's this broader behavior change that's happening in the industry, where people are just getting much more accustomed to that. So from what we see some of our customers doing is, to kind of get ahead of that happening, is making sure that they are trying to get in their customers, as repeatedly as possible. And as Austin was talking about, monitoring their funnels over, 30, 60, 90, 180 days, and figuring out, are these customers actually coming back? And just make sure that you're kind of keeping them in that habit, so that it's something that they constantly want to do, irrespective of what's actually going on.
Yeah, great. And then on the topic of memberships, right? So kind of a 3-part question that's come in. So the first part is really, what's the gold standard for membership accounts per location? And then, is there such a thing as too many memberships? Let's start there, Austin, with those two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's such a thing as too many memberships. Firstly, I mean, we see customers that are north of 8,000 members per location, and I think that those can still be growing. Obviously, that requires you to have the really like operational focus to be able to process that many vehicles. I think that's really what creates the ceiling, is if you can't process enough. But otherwise, I think we're seeing time and time again that members, they start to get the drill. They're going to line up very well in the wash, and you can actually pack a lot more cars per hour than people would have thought 5 to 10 years. And I think we tend to serve pretty high volume customers. Like our average customer has roughly 4,000 members per location. And yeah.
And then kind of following up on that, when should a car wash shift their focus from scaling new memberships to retaining current memberships, or is it always just a balance?
Yeah, I think it's always a balance. I mean, if you're not focused on retention from day one, then you're going to end up feeling like you're having to run faster to stay in the same place. And we do see people where that does create this gravity that makes it harder to get to 5,000-6,000 members. But I think retention is something that you don't want to put off until you've realized that you've leaked out 2,000 members. It's something that you want to have in place from day one, particularly for this discussion around getting to 3,000 members. If you lose 1,000 of those first couple of members, that's going to make it a lot harder to get there and stay there.
Yeah. As Alex says in the chat, no such thing as too many memberships. If anybody has extras, feel free to send them his way. I think that's kind of the common thought, right? So there's a question that came in a couple of times about Spot and Rinsed. So are there plans for Spot to integrate license plate recognition technology with Rinsed to target frequent customers who are not members? Any thoughts on that? Anything you want to talk about, Sud, Austin?
I think Austin, maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think a big initiative for us is we've historically been very focused on sort of just your membership data, and we're really expanding now to encompass all of your single washer data as well. And I think like the richest additional source of information for that is to know who's on premise at any given time. So that's where I think working with a Spot that has that rich license plate information to enrich your single wash transaction history can get us to a place where when people come onto your wash, you want to know for those single wash customers exactly what they've bought in the past, who's most likely to respond to a membership. So I think that's the direction that we're really trying to get to.
Yeah, and I can add on to that, which is from a Spot perspective, we see video data as this large untapped source of data for businesses, and picture is worth 1,000 words, and what we're focused on is how do we distill that into insights and analysis that can actually help make you more money. And one of the strong intersections that we see with a company like Rinsed is the ability to connect how your physical operations are doing with how your customers are engaging with you. So we definitely see opportunities there.
And one thing kind of that comes clear that we've heard a lot is the way Rinsed and Spot think about working with the car wash industry. There's a velocity and there's something interesting that takes place with how understanding the industry, moving fast to help car washes scale the way companies try to scale as well. Question here about apps. Does Spot AI and Rinsed have mobile apps, customer-facing apps? Sud?
Spot AI offers an app primarily for users of the camera system. However, for applications that require you to share video with customers, we make that really, really seamless so that they don't need access to the platform, and you can kind of keep that within your company.
Yeah, and Rinsed does not have an app. Everything is done though mobile web optimized. So, for example, we've helped our car wash customers sell over 100,000 memberships online, and 80,000 of those have been done on people's mobile devices.
That's great. So, question here. I'm looking through the questions. Does the system provide information? So this is a Rinsed question really right now. Do you provide information like average customer lifetime, average customer lifetime value?
Yep. Yeah. So with our CRM, you can segment by plan type, by location, by specific promotions. Look at what has retention been for those, what is lifetime value, and you can also see that on any individual customer.
Okay, great. There's a question here for both of you that came in about online signups worrying some car washes, because I'll read it, right? So someone could be sitting at home and sign up, and then they can cancel online, like from their couch. saying, "Oh yeah, I don't really need this membership. I haven't gone this week, or I haven't gone this month. I'm going to cancel." So how can car washes combat that and make sure that that's not the case?
Yeah, so we actually find that retention for members who sign up online, and as I mentioned, we signed up over 100,000, is as good, if not better, than the people who are signing up in the store. And I think that's because there's some, real intent to someone who's not at a car wash, not going to get the product right this instant, but is still buying it online. And so that's even, despite often fairly significant promotions for that initial sign up. When we look at, the percent of members who are still around 6 months, 12 months later, it's actually as good, if not better, than the people you signed up in the store. So I think the evidence has been that isn't really a problem.
It's great. Looking through the questions some more, is there anything that can help battle credit card declines due to expiration dates?
Yeah, so I mean, this is I think like a key focus of ours, and usually the first thing we turn on with a customer, and that's around automating emails and text messages to your members when they're in credit card decline, giving them a really easy way to update their member information and not asking them to sign into some system that they've never used before, but just asking for the minimum amount of information we need to make that update in your point of sale and get them back to active status.
And student Austin, there's a question here about industry data. Anonymous industry data, of course, not sharing customer data public or anything like that. But is there a way for Rinsed or Spot to create benchmarks for key operational and membership kind of data points? Sud, Austin.
No, that's a great question. It's something that we've been thinking about. Our customers, particularly on Spot, use the system to benchmark a lot of operational data. So that's definitely something that's on our mind. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I think similarly, we've grown a lot in the last couple of years, and now that we're in seeing over 4 million members, there's I think a lot of valuable data to extract from that. But I think anything would be on a kind of an opt-in basis if we were to show some kind of benchmarks, because we're very sensitive that like this is your key customer data and want to be sensitive around that. But I do think that we hear this from a lot of operators, so I do think there's a path to an opt-in benchmarking.
Great. So question for both of you: where do you see the car wash industry headed? I mean, this is a question I know you guys get all the time. We hear from customers all the time. So, Austin, where do you see the industry headed?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still in the early innings of this transition to membership. I think that we look at the conversion rates across a pretty wide variety of our customers now, and they're continuing to tick up industry wide. And I think that that's despite the economic conditions. I think that's a testament to just this model being more and more understood. So I think we're going to see a lot more car washes built and a lot more people keeping their car clean via membership.
Sud?
I think there are two things that we're hearing from our customers on where the industry is headed. I think one is, after a period of very significant expansion, there is a redoubling on a desire to understand and serve customers a whole lot better, and actually translate those investment dollars into strong operating income. And I think where the industry is headed, and if you think about other industries that are similar or are sort of a benchmark for where it's going, what we hear a lot about our customers is a move and looking towards the quick service industry and the fast food industry as sort of the end state, where there is deep understanding of metrics and instrumentation in operations and how customers are served, and how to provide them the best possible experience. And a lot of folks are looking to those businesses to take learnings that they can start bringing in to the car wash industry, and that's where we see it's headed.
Great. So we're just about up on time, but I have one more question that I think you both have hinted at a couple of times the little past hour. But really, what's next for Spot AI and what's next for Rinsed in the car wash industry? Sud, do you want to start?
Sure. So I think the big focus for us is how do you make your video more useful and make you money. And over time, not just focus on your video data, but increase the value of it by integrating other physical devices that are on your premises. Your POS system, your customer systems, and the actual car wash equipment itself, and then provide you more insights that can help you run your operations better. And the value of that video data increases as there are more data streams added to it, and then that helps you as customers to get more value from the platform. That's where it's going.
Great, Austin. What's next for Rinsed?
Yeah. So I think for us, it's really expanding that focus from pure memberships. And I think, the industry has been guilty of this. I've been guilty of this even in this webinar. Memberships are such a fast growing and, profitable driver of the business. But, your single wash customers, they're almost always, the most unique vehicles you're going to see over the course of the year. Often it can be like 75% of the unique vehicles, and really having a strategy around how do you personalize the communication with them, get the ones that are appropriate for membership into membership, but how do you address the other ones and increase their frequency, increase their loyalty? And I feel like, in all of the focus on membership, they've been somewhat forgotten, and really trying to bring them into the fold and give you the same best-in-class tools to communicate and personalize their experience.
Great. Well, Sood, Austin, thank you so much. If anyone's, our team will reach out to you, but if you're ready to talk with us today, you can go to rinsed.co, spot.ai, and we're happy to talk with you. Any parting words, Austin or Sood?
No, this was great. Look, we're excited to be building for the car wash industry, and excited to be partnering with other forward-thinking folks like the Spot team.
I'll second that. Definitely, enjoy partnering with the folks at Rinsed, and for all our customers here, we build better businesses by hearing and receiving your feedback. So, and our goal is to always keep creating value for you. So, if there are any thoughts that suggestions that you guys have on this, and other subjects that you think you might get more value out of, we're all yours. So please feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Sood. Thanks, Austin. Thanks for everyone for attending. And we hope to see you at the Car Wash Show in a month. Have a good day.
Thank you.
See you in Vegas.